They can answer your questions. So if you look for the chat in the right-hand corner where it's next to it says people, please feel free to ask questions there, and the staff will be able to answer questions along this presentation. And we'll give people just about one more minute. There's about several people trying to get in. Okay, well, welcome to our presentation for our family information session. The mission of, first, before we get started, I will introduce myself. My name is Manisha House. I am the Director of School Leadership. I am the Principal Supervisor and School Support for Montessori schools, for special programming schools, and for the large preschool sites and all of our expeditionary learning schools in the district. And Cincinnati Digital Academy and Virtual are two of my schools that I support and serve. So our mission, the mission of Cincinnati Digital Academy, is to provide traditional and non-traditional students with an alternative technology-based curriculum. CDA will prepare students for the opportunity to become self-motivated, lifelong learners and successful, active, and productive citizens in our society. So the CDA staff is here. I am going to introduce to you the principal, Mr. Rozier, and I ask that you introduce your staff.
Good evening, everyone. Again, thank you for coming into our chat here about Cincinnati Digital Academy. Our staff is made up, of my office staff, Kim Rowley, technology coordinator, Mark Rozier. The elementary staff is made up of Connie Dick. Tracy Lewis is our intervention specialist. Mary Beth Shannon is also a primary teacher. Connie Dick is 4, 5, 6, and Mary Beth Shannon is K through 3. Our high school team is made up of Marianne Ellis, who teaches 9 through 12 English, Kim Miller-Burke, who teaches 7, 8 math and science, David Price, who teaches 9 through 12 history, Beverly Pryor Young, who teaches 9 through 12 science, Darren Saylor, who teaches 7, 8 social studies and language arts, Terry Wessel, who teaches 9 through 12 math, and Rashida White is our 9 through 12 intervention specialist. With the numbers that we have, our staff will probably end up growing some, so we will probably end up adding more teachers to our staff as we go on. Our teachers' work day is from 8 to 3, which is a student's work day. They are available through many different ways, text messages, emails, phone calls, Google chats, to provide assistance to our students. They are also available after hours. We encourage students to work during the school day. However, it's not required. They can work anytime during the day. But that support is going to be a little bit more able to be accessed during the school day. My teachers do respond to phone calls and text messages after hours, as long as it's a reasonable hour, and build those type of relationships with our students.
Awesome, thank you. So why CDA? There are many advantages to joining the Cincinnati Digital Academy, and these are just a few. The CDA advantage: equity, flexibility, ease of transition, consistency, and relationships. And another nice feature is that the CDA staff are used to providing instruction in a virtual setting, and so they are equipped with strategies on how to continue to keep students engaged in a virtual learning atmosphere. Equity and access for all. All students have access to a high-quality, standards-aligned district curriculum, and all students will use the same scope and sequence. So as a district, we are using the same scope and sequence to ensure the ease of transition and for equity purposes. We want to make sure that if a student does transition, that there are no holes or gaps in learning based on which school they attended during a specific period in time. Program flexibility, and this is a great functionality of CDA. Schedule flexibility, as Principal Rosier mentioned, they have access to Schoology and Edgenuity 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It includes self-paced learning. There's also the offering of AP courses, CPP courses, and credit recovery courses. Options are available as well. And credits are assigned on work mastery, quality, and completion, not just seat hours. And our elementary students are also provided online and offline learning activities. Ease of transition. This is really important to us. We understand that during this period of this pandemic, that it's important for students and families to be able to make choices and be able to have a seamless transition between CPS schools. There is an orientation that occurs for incoming students to make sure that they are prepared and equipped to be successful in being a learner in the virtual setting. And the students follow the same scope and sequence across all grades and contents as homeschools. Program consistency. CDA, along with all other CPS schools, will use Schoology as its primary launching pad for communication and curriculum. I know as a CPS parent myself, it was very hard last spring trying to manage all of the platforms that were used between maybe Class Dojo, Google Classroom, iExcel, Extra Math, Get Epic. All of those platforms were great, but it was very overwhelming. So we have organized better, and we have planned and learned from that period of time. And so we are using Schoology as the platform and the launching pad so that students will go there first to access their content. There's a cutting edge curriculum in all grade levels and content areas. Scope and sequence for all grade levels is the same, and students in K through 6 will use the same ELA, math, science, and social studies modules as home schools. Relationships. This I found was probably the most popular question that I have received. Do students actually meet their teachers at CDA, or is it just all online? And so CDA is much more than an online school. Students and families build relationships with teachers. They have access to virtual face-to-face meetings. They have virtual peer collaboration opportunities and a variety of student and teacher communication opportunities. And so instead of me bragging on what occurs at CDA, I would like for the teachers and staff to be able to talk about the relationships and how they build relationships with students and families, and in essence, how that ends up being a great supportive measure for all students. So if any of the staff members are talking, you will have to unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you were waiting. I'm sorry. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I am Terry Wessel, the high school math teacher. We take great pride at CDA in the contact that we set up with our students from day one. Our students and the parents are given not only our desk numbers, but our cell phone numbers, as Mr. Rosier said. We take great pride in making ourselves available to our students at any time. We will call if we see that your child is getting behind. I have had students call me that were just having a rough day and said, I'm not going to be able to work. And I've been able to sit down and talk with them to see what was going on. My colleagues and we're kind of like a big family, and we try to bring our kids into that same type of atmosphere. We're here to help and help them be successful and help your child be successful.
I'm David Price, and I teach social studies 9 through 12, but I'm also the senior class advisor. And one of the things that I have done over the past couple of years is with seniors, I think it's important that when you have conversations with them, you're not always just talking about academics and how they can get better grades. So last year, we had a monthly meeting where we would sit down, we called it senior breakfast, and we would eat together and we would sip some coffee. And we would talk about what they want to do in the future, like college plans and things like that. And I found that to be a very way to develop the relationships with these kids that helped them to be successful. I think in addition, having been a regular classroom teacher for a long time, one of the things that you struggle with in that classroom is it's difficult to have a one-on-one conversation in front of 35 to 36 other students who are in the room at the same time. And something that's unique to the digital program is that you have a lot of one-on-one conversations. You have more one-on-one conversations than you do whole class. In my car, I have the Bluetooth, and I have more than once been on my way home. I have a bit of a long commute home, and spent time just talking to students about everything from the Great Depression to things that they're dealing with in their own personal lives. Yeah.
My name is Ms. Pryor Young. I teach science high school, and I have found that my students that need more help because of the way our program is set up, I can take as much time as I need, and I may talk to those students as many as 5 times a day, answering questions, making sure that they're on task, making sure they're getting it done, and talking to their parents. So there's a lot of communication that's going on. We also allow students to text our phone and get a quick answer. But the way the program is designed, it is designed for us to communicate with students as they need it to be to move forward. And that's what we do. We try to move them forward as well as possible. I think if you check our website out and look at the graduation pictures, you'll see relationships that have been built with students over a 4-year time period. And our students really do take pride in graduating from our school.
Thank you. Are there any of the other teachers that would like to comment and discuss how students are supported? Mr. Rozier, as the principal, do you want to highlight on building relationships and how students are supported?
Yeah, I think relationships is one of our driving forces with our CDA program and just our programs in general here. Because I'm a relationship type of person. I think we try to build relationships not only with the students but with the parents too, because we know that we want to try and help you as well as the student to be successful lifelong learners. And the only way to do that is to build relationships and to work together for what is our common goal for your child to be successful. And oftentimes kids, they like to respond more electronically than we do. They like to text and email more than we do, and that's an option that we have. Kids often will text back and forth with the teacher and just building that relationship. I've often seen sometimes where students just call in the morning just to say good morning. Each morning to the teachers, because that's that relationship and that's that bond that they have with our students, and that goes a long way. So that helps with a lot of our teachers, and that's what I look for when I'm actually having teachers or hiring teachers, is that relationship building.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
This is Connie Dick. I teach the grades 4 through 6. And the way the primary teachers, Miss Shannon and I, we make contact almost on a daily basis, like some of the high school teachers as well. But we communicate obviously with the kids and the parents. Parent involvement is a little more intense with the little kids. We want to make sure they're on the right track. We communicate with them, text, phone call, email, online meetings such as this. And we also see their work daily, written work to where they will scan different documents to us that we can check even on their writing skills. We also have different programs where the children will read daily, and that will be monitored. Audio, we will be able to listen to them read, and we'll be able to check for fluency, pronunciation, different things like that. And that'll also be done on almost a daily level so that we can provide constructive feedback. So we work together as a team with the parent and the child.
Thank you for expressing that. So we are in the question and answer portion. And I know that we've been answering a lot of questions as we go through and through this presentation. And so team, please help me out. Are there any questions that you feel like we should call out because they are they've been repeated a couple of times? I know that there's a question about enrollments and how to enroll and who to reach out to. Terry, go ahead.
I have put my email in several times, as has Miss Ellis, because I've noticed there's a lot of parents that are having problems with paperwork that they need to get loaded up. So they can send that information to me, and I will make sure that it gets to the proper person or somebody calls back. Another question that I've seen that I'd like to address is the number of students that the teachers are responsible for. At the high school level, we are advisors. So I was the advisor for 9th grade last year, and that was 50 students. So this year so far, I think we have 64 enrolled as of right now. So what that means is I'm responsible for making sure that those 9th graders get their work done for all their classes every day. So I am going in every day and looking to make sure that all of my students that are assigned to me are completing their daily assignments, that they're not falling behind. If I see that something is amiss or that their grades aren't good, I'm picking up the phone and I'm calling them and saying, what's going on? How can I help? And I'm also reaching out to the parents and saying, hey, you know, your child's not doing well, or I've noticed they've fallen a day behind. Is there something we can do to help out? So, and those numbers are in flux right now, as you can all imagine. So I don't know what our final numbers will wind up being and what the breakdown of number of students per teacher will be, but that's where we are right now.
Terry, do you mind putting your email on the chat one more time, just for those people that just joined? They won't be able to see the entire chat.
Yes, thank you.
I noticed a lot of parents asking questions about IEPs and 504s. We do have an intervention specialist that works with the students in developing the IEP and accommodations that will best help those students.
And obviously the IEP team can convene and have conversations about what will best meet the needs for the child to make sure that they're successful.
Ms. House, there's a question that just popped up that was also prevalent earlier today about seniors being able to go back and graduate with their home school. Yes, you can transfer back, but I also know there was a concern with some parents that asked about if they stayed with us for the full year, if their diploma would reflect their home school. And I did notice that a meeting information was sent out that the committee is going to be discussing that. so that if you would do the full year with Cincinnati Digital, that the diploma would in fact have the homeschool on it. So look for that information for that committee so that you can join in on that. That is a situation that is out of our hands at the Digital Academy.
I will put my secretary's email address for the Digital Academy on the chat. So if you are having problems with enrolling, you can email her directly.
And then I also want to give all of our participants the information that we are recording the session and also documenting all of the questions so that we can produce a Q&A to all that participated or all that were not able to participate to provide them with the same answers as well.
And I see a few questions about caseload and high school teachers and certification. And so I just want to assure people that everybody who teaches at Cincinnati Digital is a qualified teacher, is highly qualified. We all teach. So I'm the high school English teacher. I teach grades 9 through 12, and I'm certified to teach 9 through 12. That's what I teach. So we all basically know what we're doing. Yes, we all come from traditional schools and in Cincinnati Public, and so we've worked with students in traditional schools, and we understand those challenges, and I think that kind of makes us unique to working with students who are making that transition.
And to piggyback on that, Ms. Ellis, I spent 16 years at Dater High School, so I have taught students in what is considered the AA program. I also taught at Riverview East Academy, along here with the Digital Academy. As Ms. Ellis said, every teacher is highly qualified. We all have many years of experience under our belts, and we are all here to help the children succeed.
I'm David Price again. I'm also I work with the technology in the building. I've saw a few questions about printers, whether the students would need printers at home. Some students like to print their work and handwrite it, and that's totally fine. You can also do it completely digitally. And what I'm advising people to do is if you can connect your computer to a TV monitor using an HDMI cable. There are HDMI ports on the computer. You can connect it to the TV. That way you have two monitors. So rather than printing something, you can be looking at it over here and working on a different screen, taking notes or whatever. Someone said something about the textbooks. So yes, all of the information that the students need is within Edgenuity. So all of the text, there's videos of teachers teaching, everything that you would need for your information to do the assignments is in Edgenuity.
Sorry, but I see at least 3 questions about what a typical day looks like. And I think that depends on your family. We're in the building 8 to 3 to kind of get our day started, to grade papers, to answer questions, whatever you need us to do. But that's our best time to be reached for students who need help, for students who need one-to-one chats with teachers, whatever you need us to do. But that doesn't mean that's our only time to be reached. It just means it's our best time to be reached. But we realize that time doesn't mean it's the best time for your family. So if your best time works for 8 to 10 in the morning, and then you stop and have a little break, and then you come back later, it's whatever works best for your family. The student is working on the computer, doing a computer-led program. It's self-paced. So if they want to work ahead a little, they can work ahead a little. If they're falling far behind, believe me, you'll be hearing from one of us. So they won't get too far behind before you hear from one of us. But it is intended. I taught in a Montessori school. I always compare it to a Montessori contract. It's set up kind of like that. Here's your contract. Here's what's due by Friday, or in the high school, here's what's due by next Wednesday. you set it up for your family, what works best for you for your schedule, and then you know what to do when, and that's what your day looks like, whatever works best for your family. So it's hard for us to say what a typical day looks like because it's different for every single family. Sorry.
Don't apologize. That was great. And I would say on the elementary end, they are probably going to have a more structured schedule where there'll be class times where they will need to sign in so that they can have lessons with the teacher to be able to provide that support, just because they need a little bit more guidance and support as a learner that's developmentally appropriate. But not all of their work will be online, so to speak, to say that an elementary child will be on the computer 6 hours a day, because that would not be appropriate. So there is that mix where there are some activities that are offline as well. There are, when the elementary world, special classes, or what I would call electives, are offered as well at CDA. There are foreign language opportunities as well. There's a question about, is it too late to enroll? No, it is not too late to enroll. We ask that you do that as soon as possible. I know that the district has made a request for parents to make a choice and decision by August the 10th. We know that that is a short turnaround, but we just want to be prepared with the appropriate staffing and support at all of our schools. So if we have an influx at the Digital Academy, which we feel like we will, then we have the staffing to support that. That way teachers can continue this level of intimacy and this level of engagement with students that is manageable. Yes, Latin is available. Foreign languages start typically in the intermediate grades or junior high grades, 7th grade. However, we have had this conversation. If you are at, for example, Fairview and your study is German, we are looking at what that German would look like for those students, because that is a part of their core. That could be giving them access to Edgenuity, or maybe having remote instruction regarding German. Yes.
I'm sorry. I keep seeing a lot of questions about number of hours that the students have to log on. The state has changed the attendance requirements for online schools. So we're not looking for seat hours. We are looking for completion of work. So what happens, and this is pretty much K through 12, each day there is a certain amount of work assigned. It is required that the students complete the work that is assigned daily and for the entire week. So if there's a day where there's a family emergency or something and the child can't work that one day, that's fine. As long as they get all the work completed by the end of the week, they'll be okay. However, we do ask that, if something's up, that you just give us a phone call or a text message saying, hey, we have a family emergency. My son or my daughter won't be able to work today. But they are required to meet the work daily and for the week. And I hope that answers all the questions I saw on that.
So there was a question about assessment, and I'm so glad that that came up. All students in the district will be assessed as they have before, more so in specific grades, thinking of language arts and math, to be able to assess their growth and development from elementary to high school. And so we use one of our assessments that we use is the MAP assessment. And so traditionally that was given on campus at schools, but we will be able to give that remotely this year, which is exciting that the vendor has allowed that to happen. And teachers are able to participate in proctoring while students are taking that in a remote session, and that will be given 3 times a year. So we will be able to see the reading level and the math capability and demonstration at the beginning of the year, at the middle of the year, and at the end of the year. And that's also will contributing to transitions as well, because we'll have that information and we'll consistently see, is your child growing academically, and are we accelerating their growth? And that's what we are pushing for, accelerating the growth for all students.
Ms. House, I saw a question earlier asking where this was going to be posted afterwards, transcripts and questions. It was a question that is now scrolled off the screen. I didn't know if you could share where that will be posted for everybody.
So one place that makes sense for me is obviously posting it somewhere on the website, the CDA website, but we'll talk to communications about blasting it out as well to families when they send their next family correspondence, so that anyone who wasn't able to participate, they can have access to the Q&A. So if you don't receive emails or robocalls from the district, that is a great opportunity to call and update your information so that we can, as a district, stay in contact with you.
Can someone speak to how the students will be able to interact with each other or build community, or even if it's virtual, what is the interaction? I saw an email from the superintendent that that would be built into the curriculum now.
So Schoology provides a platform for students to be able to, there are many different features that we have not explored fully that teachers are learning about that gives collaborative opportunities, but then teachers have the flexibility as well to pull small groups via Google Chat so that students can collaborate and they can meet with small groups of students to be able to help support them and for students to support one another.
Ms. House, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Clarification, I think we have a parent from Walnut Hills who has stated that they were told that they can only transfer back to Walnut Hills at the semester. I think I've seen the parent state this twice. Is that in fact the case, or can they go back at any time?
We're asking at least by, I think the ask was by the end of the quarter. It was not the full semester, but they could transition at the quarter. I would say that if there's the need to transition, the earlier and the sooner that a parent can communicate with their servicing school, the school can help and start the transition process. I think that's the best way to help support that.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, Manisha, but there are several questions about AP, and I just want to clarify that AP
Yes.
will be offered. Am I correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Ms. House, there seems to be a number of questions about people that have computers already from their past school, and whether or not, if they don't have them, where are they going to go to get computers? And there seems to be a number of things that are going on with that. You might want to speak to that.
Yes. So right now we are in an interesting setup where you actually have flexibility, and sometimes that's not the case. So if you picked up a device already, either from your homeschool currently, you can keep that device. If you do not have a device, you can pick up a device if you enroll in CDA at the CDA orientation. That's another opportunity. If you want a device prior to that, you can still attend the device pickup days that have already been sent out regarding at your home school. So those are options.
And we're working with IT right now to set up a device deployment, hopefully the week of the 17th. So we're working on re-imaging a lot of devices. So for those who do not have devices, or those who do not have compatible devices with us, we will try to get a device deployment the week of August 17th.
I keep seeing a question about who will be teaching the AP courses. The teachers at Cincinnati Digital Academy are all certified teachers. For example, I am certified in mathematics 7 through 12. I have a master's degree in mathematics from the University of Cincinnati, and I hold a education specialist degree in e-learning. So I would be responsible for teaching the AP mathematics. Ms. Ellis would do AP English. So we are all certified teachers, highly qualified, so that will be handled that way. And Ms. House, I did see a question about AP Computer Science, which I know is currently not offered through Edgenuity, but I know that you said there are arrangements the district is trying to make. Could you address that for the parents, please?
Yes. We want to do the best that we can for that transition purpose to offer courses that students are enrolled in or that have been in, have had a huge field of study in. And so there are some courses, for example, like Latin 3, that is currently or has been currently not offered at CDA. But we will be doing that offering of Latin 3 in a distance learning situation with a teacher to be able to teach that content so that coursework can continue to move on. So if there are specialized courses where there's a question about whether or not it's available or you don't see it listed on the website when we list the course offerings, please contact the counselor at CDA or the staff at CDA so that we can look at how we can problem solve and what we can offer.
Ms. Jones has a question. I don't know if you can unmute her. I saw her hand go up and then I saw that she typed it in the messages.
Hey, hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi. I just have a question real quick. I enrolled my son through CDA. I heard your program was really good. But now that CPS is going virtual, I've been trying to get him to go back to our neighborhood school. And I've been told that I have to wait for you guys. You have to wait for whatever happens today. The problem is that I'm having is that their last day to pick up devices from his neighborhood school is tomorrow. And I didn't know if it was a makeup day, if we were just going to miss it. I didn't know anything. And I've literally been on the phone going back and forth with CPS, CDA, and they're putting everything on you guys.
So is your biggest question that you want to know where to pick up a device? Is that the first thing?
No, I want to know how do I get him actually, because he's not enrolled at Rockdale no more. He's inactive for Rockdale and he's active for you guys, CDA.
Okay.
But so I wouldn't be able to go pick up a device due to the fact that he's not, from what's being told to me, he's not in their school.
So you want him to go back to Rockdale?
I want him to go back to Rockdale. I think it would be easier for him to start the whole virtual process through that. And then hopefully I'm hoping that the numbers and everything is great for when they do go back. But my thing is I would just like him to start the process with Rockdale and then go from there.
So I'll put my secretary's email in the chat.
Okay.
Email her. Her name's Kim Rowley. I can put it in there again. Email her. We can inactivate him, and then Rockdale has to pull him back in.
Okay.
So once we inactivate him, see, Rockdale can't go in and take him out of our system.
Right.
So we have to inactivate him, and then they can go in and pull him back in. So okay. I will. If you what is his name?
Donyere Jones. It's DONYAIRE. DONYAIRE.
And we'll work with you. I don't want you to have to give us any of his personal information, but we'll work with you on being able to help support. So thank you for giving that concern.
Then I will email her tonight.
Okay.
And let her know to take him out. He wants to return to Rockdale. And once she inactivates him, then they have to go back in and pull him in.
Okay, that's no problem.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
So I've seen a couple questions. We give out laptops to all of our students K through 12. So I think that Ms. Makisha, that'll answer your question. somebody has asked about courses listed. If I put my email back in the chat, if you want to send me your email, I can send you the current listing of classes that we have. And then another question that I saw is enrollment only accepted at the start of each quarter at the Digital Academy. We, and Mr. Rozier, please jump in if I am incorrect, but we take students year round, correct, sir?
Yes,
Yeah.
that is correct.
Yeah.
We take students all year long. We just ask that if you're the more that you can communicate with the school of your transition or enrollment plans, the better. That way, either side can prepare and be able to support. Sometimes we ask parents, at least at quarter breaks or semester breaks, that's when we can do really great transition academically. It's hard to do that in the middle of a quarter for some students, just because it is in the middle of learning, and we want to be able to support the child as best as possible. So I think that's where you hear that quarter language come from. But yes, students can enroll at any time.
So a couple questions have been what a typical day looks like. Edgenuity, and I'm only addressing 7 through 12 because that's what I teach right now, and that's what I'm very familiar with. The curriculum is delivered through a video program. These are teachers that Edgenuity is hired. They present the lesson, the students watch the video, they take notes. They can go back, replay the videos. If they get stuck on something or don't understand it while they're watching the videos, we encourage them to call the teacher of that course. Then they are given some practice problems, some homework problems to do, and then they take a quiz. If they pass the quiz, they'll move on to the next lesson. So it's really driven by the student as far as how fast they move through it, knowing that they still have to get X amount of work done each day. So after hours, if they're working on something and they get stuck, that's when they would call us on our cell phone and we can help them out. So it's not that they're teaching live all the time. We will have live sessions for the students. We will have help sessions for the students. We will have office hours that we will set up. But most of the work is done via video by the students, and you can consider us coaches and kind of like tutors when they get stuck and need assistance.
I did see a couple of questions about orientation. Yes, there will be an orientation that will be held for new students, and that date is TBA, but that will come out soon.
Ms. House, there's a question about whether or not a student will lose their spot at their magnet school. Can you speak to that?
Yes, as if they are enrolled in a Cincinnati public school, which Cincinnati Digital Academy is a Cincinnati public school, their spot can be held at their magnet school.
I see a question about students that are taking college credit plus courses. We obviously will not pile on classes with you taking that number of courses. We work with the parent and student to take into consideration the number of college credit plus courses they're taking and give them what they need to basically create a full schedule that they would have at a high school. So yes, that is, we have students in our program that have done the CCP program, and we work with them individually.
So I did see a couple of questions, and I want to make sure that we're able to address it, about students who have an individual education plan, an IEP. We do support students that have IEPs, 504s, WAPs, WEPs, ELL plans, because we legally have to. And so not because we have to, but it's what's best for kids. And so there will be an intervention specialist assigned, and just as you would at a typical traditional school, and meet with the IEP team and talk about your child's strengths and goals, and what are the goals that you're going to be working on, and their present levels and strategies, and what their services are going to look like. That is the same thing that occurs just in the virtual setting with the staff with CDA and with the intervention specialist. So those meetings and those supports continue to occur.
I'd like to address that Latin is not being addressed.
What in particular is your question about Latin? I'm sorry, Mr. Price.
I actually just posted Latin has been addressed. She left the meeting. I explained in the notes that Latin is taught through Edgenuity.
We do have Latin 1, 2, and we'll be offering Latin 3. I think for those
How is that taught?
Latin for 1 and 2, it is taught via the video platform, just like all our other classes are. The Latin 3, Ms. House, you'll have to address that, as I am not aware of how that's going to be handled.
Latin 3, we'll have to get an outside teacher to actually teach that in kind of like a remote setting virtually. So that will kind of be structured like a specific class time where students will have to log in to receive that instruction for Latin 3.
There's a lot of questions about the elementary curriculum, and I am not qualified to answer that. If somebody,
Can
Connie,
you hear me?
Yes, I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah. No, that's okay. Connie Dick, I teach the intermediate grades. A lot of questions about what a typical day will look like. In the past, the typical day looked like what Terry Wessel explained, that the curriculum is delivered via the Edgenuity platform, as well as several other platforms that we use to enhance the learning, where students are able to actually read aloud to the teachers, and we're able to monitor that and score it for accuracy and fluency and other such things. This year, things are going to be a little bit different, as we're going to have the morning meetings and have more FaceTime with the students, and using the Schoology platform. So, Ms. House, I don't know if you want to address that more about how we're going to integrate that into the daily workday of the K-5 students.
And I think the students will have, just as in the traditional school, the platform, they'll access content and announcements will be on Schoology as well, but they'll also have Google Meet classes where they'll meet up to discuss the same reading curriculum, written wisdom, and the same math curriculum ready, so that they will not miss a beat. They'll have the same scope and sequence and be able to discuss content. And so students will not be on the computer or in classes that whole time throughout the school day, but there'll be probably recommended activities that they can do and that they should do to continue to enhance their learning offline as well.
And there's a lot more interaction in the elementary with the teacher interaction between the student and the teacher. As high school, you can let those kids can go a little bit off on their own. They can do a little bit more self-paced. Elementary is a lot more structured. There'll be a lot more teacher interaction. Each morning, like I said, the teachers will come in and meet with the students and have a whole group of the students and work with them, and then work with students actually individually also. But there will be a lot more group meeting and a lot more interaction with the elementary and the little ones, because they need that interaction, and that interaction, social interaction with other students as well, so that they can kind of develop a little bit more. So there will be a lot of teacher interaction, more so with the elementary.
Exactly. There will be a lot more interaction for the kids K-5. So we are flexible. However, the K-5, like Ms. House said, does need to be a little more structured, so we are able to follow along with the students, see where they are, help them as we see if they're slipping at all, or as some people have asked, if they are advanced or gifted, so that we can move them on, so that they are challenged. The students who are able to move on, we get them moving on down the road and progressing. And maybe students who are having some more trouble, we can have more FaceTime with them, have added sessions, whether it be on the computer or the phone or whatever, however best meets that family's needs.
Can you talk about the, I think there was some questions about sports, whether or not students can participate like in athletics?
Yes, yes, I just finished. I'm sorry, Mr. Rozier, did I cut you off?
That's okay, Mr. Price, go ahead. You're all right.
Okay, I'm the athletic director at the virtual high school. And yes, students who are engaged in athletic activities, and I just answered a question about band. In terms of just taking a class,
It's crazy.
band
This is
is one
crazy.
of those unique things because it's
That the world's actually doing this shit.
Mr. Brown, can you mute, please?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. So with Edgenuity, there's no class in band. Band is one of those unique things. It's an academic class as well as an extracurricular activity. So with sports, I can directly answer and say, yes, they have the opportunity to play sports in the local schools. I've never addressed the band issue, but it would be something that we would have to work through the local school, and I'm sure that those arrangements can be made.
So we encourage our students to participate in extracurricular activities because that also gives them a way to actually build those relationships with other students as well. We also, students are able to participate in sports with the school that's closest to their residence, unless they participated in sports at the previous school. So for example, if a kid went to Walnut Hills, and they played sports there, and then they come to Cincinnati Digital Academy, and they have to play sports back at Walnut Hills. But if a kid comes to us and has never played a sports at any other high school, then they will play sports where the high school or school that's closest to their residence. And we often have a lot of kids that do participate. If they're eligible, they can keep up with their academics. We encourage them to do that. That helps build the whole child, well-rounded student.
So I saw a question I would like to address. The teachers for Cincinnati Digital Academy do not work from home. We did with all the other teachers did with the COVID outbreak, but we all report to an office and we all get to sit together. And that way it's nice because we can then discuss students. So if there's an 8th grader that's going to be moving up to 9th grade and it has special situations or learns differently, we can have that discussion right there in the office. But we all work together in one office. So we do report daily, just like other teachers do to school. We just don't have an actual school building that we report to. I also see questions about art. Our art classes are all online. We have an introduction to art. We have art history. Mr. Price, I think there might be a 3rd one. I'm not sure. We used to have a graphics course, but the Edgenuity no longer supports that. So all the courses we have are online, and they all meet the requirements that are needed by the state of Ohio for graduation.
And I will say, I think that there was a comment that, wow, this all sounds great. What, if any, are the negatives to CDA? And so what I can say is
that was the best question of the day.
That is the best question of the day. What I can say is that we are all striving to do better each and every day. Sometimes we make mistakes. We know that we will all make mistakes, but it's a great opportunity for us to learn. The flexibility that CDA provides allows students to not only learn at their own place and desire, but then it also allows that individualized support too that teachers can give students to continue to push them if we feel like they're not meeting expectations. But we do that in a collaborative approach, including the parents as well. So as we all move into this virtual season, we are learning from one another, we're learning from parents, and I think there have been some updates and changes that the CDA staff are going through as well. And so there will always definitely be transition factors, but this is a great group of people that are just committed to learning. They're committed to students and committed to seeing that all students are successful. So we only have about a minute or so left. If there's a question that you feel that has not been answered, I'm going to ask that you drop it in the chat, and we will capture that and be able to send that out in our Q&A of this meeting. That way we can make sure that not only we answer it for you, but I'm sure that that's a question that someone else in the community would ask as well. So before we leave, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all of the parents and community members that have attended this meeting. I want to thank all the staff and Principal Rozier. If Principal Rozier, do you have any last minute comments that you'd like to make before we conclude this session?
No, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming into our chat, and thank you, Ms. House, for facilitating this for us.
Great opportunity. Please reach out to the wonderful staff at CDA if you have additional specific questions that would help make the decision or that would help with your transition. We are here to help. And once again, my name is Manisha House. I am the Director of School Leadership, and I am just here as a servant to be able to help support you to ensure that your child is successful. So thank you, everyone, for your commitment and for all of the participants this evening. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Terry, can you drop the link again one more time?
For my email?
So that they can enroll, the enrollment link.
Oh, I'd have to go in and find that. I don't have it right in front of me.
Would you prefer them to email you?
Yeah, so let me do that. I'm in the process of typing in an answer for about Power School. So let me finish this and then I'll put that in a separate one. Give me 1 second, please.
Awesome.
Or they can email Kim, because I put hers on there a couple of times. I can put her email on there again.
Can you do that again? Because if the parent just joined, they won't be able to see all of that.
I just put mine up.
Oh, hold on.
I've got it, Mr. Rozier.
You got it?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I know I'm slow with the typing.
That's quite all right, sir. I still like you. So I think I've got them both up there.
All right. Thank you so much, team. Thank you so much, Rozier. Everyone have a great evening.
Thanks, you too. Thanks, Manisha. Thanks for giving us props.
Yeah, thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. We'll continue to work together. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night, you guys. Bye-bye.
Good night to you too.